Slayer off here. Before you see the light, you must die. That was sick. Cool. Cat, what are you doing in the snake room, bro? Morning, Jeff. Hold on, I gotta get the cat out of here. Cats and snake rooms don't necessarily go well together. Come on. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Oh, what up, what up, what up? I'm trying something new right now where I'm going to see if, like, it's easier for me to read the chat. Waiting to see if, like, it's easier for me to read the chat with my computer behind here or not. What's up, Richard? Okay. So if I pull this up here behind me. Okay. So if I pull this up. Alright. That way I don't have to hear a double of myself. Sweet. I can see the chat way better like this. Okay. So I can focus on the camera here, but what you guys don't see is behind you is a computer screen that's making me really weird because it's delayed and it's me. But I can see the chat better. So occasionally, like, because I've been doing it on here and the chat will come up, and if a lot of people are going, your message will get pushed up and I won't see it in time. This way I can see it better. And then I was just looking up, because I know some of you guys like getting the announcements. I was looking up because people on YouTube can get the little feature where you can post an announcement ahead of time. Like, it's called a community tool, I think, where you can post, like, I'm going live in an hour or two or something like that. Good morning, Molly. And I learned that you have to have 1,000 subscribers in order to have that feature. So we'll probably never get there, but that's okay. I'll just keep posting online or something. Ugh, I've already had a whole cup. Anyway, good morning. Happy Sunday. Oh no, there's cat hair in my coffee. God damn it. This is what I get. I'm not prepared this morning, you guys and gals. Ugh. Watching every Sunday in Belgium. My man. What's up, JB? We're international. Good morning, Kenny. Yeah, I have 328 subscribers. So getting to 1,000 is a bit of a heap. I don't care how many subscribers I have. It would be cool to have that feature. Not the end of the world. Oh, that's good. I ran out of all my new Guinea coffee that Justin sent me, so I'm back to the store-bought stuff. But it is fresh Sumatran beans. I was hoping to have her out, but she crawled away. My big jungle girl was out for a stroll earlier. Things are looking really good around here, breeding-wise. Zebras are looking good. The caramel girl with that tiger boy is looking good. The jungle girl is definitely good. Children's pythons are good. I've been feeling follicles in all of these animals. My Papuan girl, that young import. Morning, Terry. That young Papuan import I got as a baby has big marble-sized follicles. And if you were here last week at the very end, you saw that I just did like a quick, well, maybe it wasn't quick, but a live demo on how to palpate for follicles, and I did it on my my Xanthic coastal girl there. And so I decided I'd go and do that to as many as the breeders that would let me. And basically everyone that let me palpate them has follicles, which is great. At least small ones. Now that doesn't, so if those of you who are getting into breeding, you don't know what that means, that basically means the females are cycling, they're building those embryos, or soon to be fertilized embryos, and just getting the eggs built in there, ready for parturition if things go well. But they can reabsorb those follicles if something in their body just decides they don't have the resources or they're not good to go. So, you know, for the animals that I feel very light early follicles, it's a good sign. It doesn't mean anything. I've been getting lockups from a lot of animals. We're supposed to get some rain this afternoon. We've been getting weird ups and downs, and I talk about that all the time, and how that affects the animals. But you know, letting the room in here get to like 70, letting all the cages drop down to like 72 right now. The rain has definitely been helping, but the bottom line with these animals is they do have a timeline. There is like a biological process. Yeah, Kenny, I'm hoping to have a couple clutches produce visual Xanthics this year. Nothing this year will be pure one way or the other. It'll all be a mix of like coastal jungle stuff, but there will be Xanthics coming out. Next season, I should potentially be able to give my first roll at Xanthic Tigers. Good morning, Bash slash 4x4. That's a dope name. So I started, you know, gently introducing animals mid to late November, which is definitely early. But, you know, my thought process is it kind of, while I've got them emptying and they're not eating and I'm trying to give them that switch, that cue biologically to get off the food train and get more into the seasonal cycle train. And so a few, you know, got introed, nothing came of it. And then what's really been happening has been going on in the last week or two. A lot of the heavy lockups, a lot of the females showing big swelling. You know, another thing you'll see if you have your animals long enough through their adult stages, you'll see like different body positions and language. So my big jungle girl there, normally she likes to cruise around and she'll sleep kind of wherever, but you know, in a coil. Right now what she's been doing is staying pretty much exclusively on the heat under the hide in a really tight coil, and oftentimes I see her kind of like rolling off to the side, like her spine is off kilter, and usually what that is they're trying to heat different parts of their body, and typically that's a behavior associated with either digesting a really big meal or you know, building follicles in females. So I've been seeing a lot of that. So, and I've been looking at the list of everything that I'm pairing, and you know, could be a good year. So, but since you brought up Xanthics, I wanted to introduce, if I can get him out, this little stud who's been going to 2 females. He seems to really get along with this particular female. He spends a lot of time with the coastal girl. But I just seem to pick up much more like keen interest in her. I'd like to get him out. Morning, Dan. The problem is she is right there, and they're both active. So maybe I'll do this. What, dude? Yeah. What up? Hang tight. Hang tight. Holy cow. Alright. So this is my Xanthic zebra male from Psychotic Exotics. And this boy he's young. He's a 2016, so he's little. Like he's little. Like I have yearlings that aren't too far off from this guy's size. He doesn't even really have that mature carpet head. You know, he's got a little bit of it, but you don't see the muscle in there. But that's probably because of him. His name is Slinky. I got him from Psychotic, and he was a little bit more truncated, just kind of scrunched together than the rest of his clutch mates. But by the time I saw him, he was obviously normal. Todd made that very clear, and we worked something out, and he's awesome. The one thing that I've noticed is he doesn't ever stick his tongue out super far. It like gets just to the little split, and then it brings back in. But otherwise, he's perfect. And he's got a great disposition. And believe it or not, at this dude's size, when I was prepping everyone for the breeding season, this little horse was eating medium rats. So this dude can put it back. He can go ham on some food. Another behavioral thing is, although this guy will eat and eat, leading up into November, he stopped showing that same voracious appetite, which is a good thing in a young animal. Typically, like seasoned breeders, you'll see that. Brian, what are you doing awake? You have kids. But yeah, I wasn't sure if this guy was gonna show any interest, but he's definitely not shy. He's been going straight for the super zebra here, who punked him initially. The first time I introduced him, he went straight over to her, and she just bam. She just gave him a little pop. Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. I figured you'd be editing or cleaning snakes or filming or I don't know. But this guy still going at it. So that super zebra though is not friendly. So I quickly tried doing some palpating with her, and she wasn't having it. The coastal girl seems to be giving me some good behavior, but it could also be because she's small and has been eating well, and all of that's just made her kind of look tense. She's hard to read, so, but I think she's got follicles. So to answer your question a little bit more elaborately, Kenny, I'm hoping to have. So let's assume both of these pairs go. It's a visual exanthic in the coastal to this boy, so everything in that pairing should be visual exanthics, and we'll either get zebras or just a normal like coastal jungle type mix. And the pairing down here is to a female super zebra head exanthic. So half of the clutch will be visual exanthic, half will be het, half will be zebras, the other half should be super zebras if we're going by typical Mendelian genetics and you're looking at a Punnett square. So we'll get zebra exanthics, zebra head exanthics, super zebra head exanthics, and super zebra exanthics, theoretically, if I've done my math right. I think that's what's up. But that female belongs to my good friend Terrell Ziegler, and of Designer Exotics. He and April Justine have a nice collection of carpets, bloods, short tails, Borneos, a few other cool snakes. So yeah, I had the perfect male, and she's up to size, so she's here for sort of an indeterminate breeding loan, so we can make some cool stuff. Good morning, Brandon. While I'm thinking about it, everybody that is interested, the folks down in Florida, the Southeast Carpet Fest is in February. So if any of y'all are out there in that direction, get in touch with either Ian Bissell, Jacob Bratz of JLB Morelia, or some of those guys on Facebook. Yeah, that event is in February, so it's coming up quick. So if anybody wants to try and get out to a carpet fest out in Florida and do it big, reach out to those folks. They're about to launch t-shirt sales soon, I think, so they'll be posting stuff up soon. What else? Yeah, and then we're working out Southwest Carpet Fest details still. We'll probably aim for something more middle of next year. Try and coincide it so it doesn't overlap with the show or any other big events or something like that. But we're still a ways out on figuring those details out, so y'all have to stay tuned. Again, there's a Facebook page for that. But Brian might be able to keep us tuned in as well, because I think he's gonna be involved in keeping that going. Is the stream freezing? I don't know. Is it? I'm moving a snake. Is the snake moving on your end? There is a Northwest Carpet Fest. Jeff, they they've been around, I think, a year or so longer than ours. And Nick Mutton's up in Washington, and he goes to that one. And if you've ever seen some photos, be prepared to see a really built individual in a dress with tribal tattoos, because that's in the mix somewhere. They go crazy up there. They do it big. They have fun, and from what the folks on NPR say, every year they try and do it bigger and kill Nick. I don't know. I've never been, but I hear it's a good one. So I would look into them. On another note, these cages, these Neodeshas, I don't know if anybody's seen me post about them, but they're my rainbow boa cages, and those are getting sold to a friend of mine locally in the next couple weeks. And then this whole wall will be open for more hatchling racks, is what it needs to be. Because I've got a cumulative of about 60 baby slots, and if this season goes as well as it's looking like, I might need just a little bit more. So, do they even make them anymore, the Neodeshas? No, I don't think so. I think they've kind of been out of business for a long time. I got these from the zoo. The rainbows are staying. I'm not getting rid of the rainbows ever. I've had spare vision cages open for about 2 years now, and I've just been sitting here hoarding them, leaving them open because I like, not feeling full. So the rainbows are gonna move into those cages. They're a little bit bigger, and then the Crebo, who's in the top one, is going into a 4-foot vision, my female, because she's a little smaller. So these cages will go to a good friend locally who can do either his geckos or lizards or retics or smaller species in there, and then that'll free up space because I need hatchling space bad. But yeah, I'm hoping this guy will produce some cool stuff for me. Thank you, Richard. I won't be producing Brazilians this year, not pairing them this year. For now, it's kind of an every other year thing for me, just because I only have one breeding female. But my 2016 female is getting big, so she'll be ready in 2 years. Yeah, Ron, I have a pair of blacktails. I have a 6-year-old male and a 3-year-old female. They're fun. Brian's featured them when I was, actually it was a year ago, pretty much now. A year ago to this time, I had been basically living out of my car and at other people's houses with this entire collection because we had the Thomas fire going. So I spent 4 days living on Travis Johnson's couch, and that was the first evacuation, and Brian came up and visited during that, and we pulled out the Crebos, and my big male had rubbed his nose super raw from being in a pillowcase for just like 20 minutes, which ended very quickly, and I put him in a bigger tub for transport. And despite being in shed and having a scuffed up nose, he was really, really gentle and awesome. So we featured those guys there, but he's really hard to film, and I'm usually doing this by myself. And because he's a 7-foot animal that doesn't ever sit still, not only is he difficult to keep in frame, but it's just impossible to juggle a camera and talk and manage that animal. So for everybody who hits me up wanting more Crebo videos, typically I'll pull the female out because she's still small but not really getting big, but she's a little more mellow. Yeah, I mean, blacktail Crebos are pretty mellow. I think the yellowtails are the ones that are still either regularly imported or pretty close to wild caught in generation, so you tend to find a little more grumpy, little testier individuals. They're still handleable, but in my experience, it's very rare to find a blacktail that you can't handle. They're just really smart and very tuned into what's going on. Sorry if the camera's jiggling every time I grab my coffee. Jiggle, 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 jiggle. Cool. Kenny, if you're looking for Xanthic stuff, I hope you caught what I was saying earlier, but you can reach out to me. We'll talk. Um, let's see. I'm gonna put this guy back because I want him to go back to his lady. All right. Ooh, it's steamy in there. They make a mess. They're gross. I tend to not clean the breeders too much. I did clean in there because she made a pretty foul mess, but tend to like them having their scent trails and their pheromones and stuff everywhere, and let them be. And then after the breeding season, everybody gets a huge clean. Kenny, if you're looking for homozygous xanthic visuals, if I'm so fortunate enough to produce any, they will be mixture of jungle and coastal. If you're looking for homozygous xanthics that are either straight coastal or straight IJ, I would direct you to Nick Mutton, Eric Kohler, maybe Eric Burke, Owen McIntyre. I know they have xanthic stuff. I don't know if they produced homozygous this year. Yeah, I could coastal. Yeah, I could point you in the direction of some folks, but if you know, as much as we see xanthic stuff everywhere, not a lot of people are producing homozygous animals as frequently as we see with like caramels or tigers or things like that. It has been around for a while, but there's quite a bit of growing up to do in that stock. Yeah, Nick has a lot of stuff. What caging do I prefer for adults? Well, how big is your male? Because my adult males are quite comfortable in like a CB70, V70, or 41 quart tub, depending on the name, based on the manufacturer. Although some coastal males can get big, and that would be an exception. These 4-foot cages, I keep adult females in of a variety of the subspecies, Darwin, jungle, coastal, and I find 4-foot is very spacious. It's almost too much for some of the females that are like on the smaller end of things. The tiny zebra jungle. Oh yeah, he's adorable. He's been putting in work. He's a stud this year. I caught him hitting it. So, and the female's been side rolling, looking good. So hopefully we'll make some zebras and supers. He's in here right now. The female's absolutely glowing. Woo. So, they're in there. He was actually a twin, which is why he's so small. He was produced by Stephen Katz of SBK Reptiles. And I'm pretty sure I'll have to double check, but he's got I think he has some AAR blood and maybe some Nick Mutton stuff in there, but half of him is, I think, undocumented. It was one of the last zebra pairs that Steven did with this one individual that like had half documented, half not background. He's got a pretty good disposition. He's twitchy and shy, if anything, but he's really bright. Very bright. It's like a different hue of yellow than the female. This female has more of like a true like jungle color, like a not selectively bred for the brightest yellow, like still very clean in the yellow, like there's no black bleeding in, but it's a different tone of yellow. Like, see, this guy is more neon. Hers almost gets that bright on the belly, but on top it's a little more of this true like yellow gold, which is good for an adult because adult zebras can brown out a bit. Super zebras can too. They'll get like a little dorsal like tonal color change. Yeah, so this guy, he's a 2015, and he eats small rats. He could eat a medium, but I don't give them to him. And he actually lives in a 32 quart because he is so much smaller. He would do just fine in a 41. In fact, like, if he grows a little bit over the next year or so, which he may or may not, I'll make the decision to upgrade him or not. But so far, the 32 is nice for him. He's not a very active animal. He likes to hide post up in the back or just flip his water bowl in the front. He's a jerk like that. But he's not mean. He's just twitchy. She had an attitude, and I had to work on her for a while. I used to call her Palm Blaster, because that's what she would do. She blasted me on the palm twice. Not fun place to get nailed. He needs a 6-foot bioactive cage. Oh man. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. I'm all for like people exploring cool avenues of the hobby and like trying out new stuff. But yeah, there's applications for all of that, and then there's stuff where it just doesn't make sense. But I'm glad to see bugs and isopods getting recognition for all their hard work, even if I don't use them and don't think it's quite what we think it is. But you know, all those little bugs and beetles on the forest floor that we've just passed off, now they're like $20 for like really colorful ones. I learned of one called a rubber ducky the other day. That's rad. It looked like a rubber ducky. I'm not gonna go buy them though. Yeah, I'm not doing that. The closest I'll get to that is putting my animals on substrate and just letting that happen. But it's got to be clean. Change it out regularly. I just mixed up some more bedding and substrate for moving the rainbows over, and then once the season's over, everybody who's still on paper will likely get a change on the bedding. The only downside to it is, and I'm not going to show you because it's hard to pick up with lighting, is my female Darwin albino has just like smudged dirt all over her face, and albinos just shows up a lot. And when they get it in their scales, it's like, unless you wash them thoroughly or they shed, it's just like you're going to see it. And so they just look dirty. But I like giving them bedding because I think they get more traction and they can use their muscles in that like rectilinear or undulating sort of movement. I don't know. I think it's good for them. She's staring at me now, giving me a side eye. I took her man out. But they've been cuddling a lot. Yeah, I saw his post. You're getting that pair of scrubs from him. That's cool. Congratulations. You're going to enjoy the heck out of those. I actually saw somebody posted a 3-year-old pair of, I want to say they were Wamena scrubs out here in Sac. They posted a pair of them for $800. They're pretty much adults. I just felt so bad for those animals because they're beautiful, and I can't buy scrubs. I don't have room for them, nor do I have the money or plans for them. But yeah, they're pretty animals. It was too bad to see. So, morning, Tavion. Oh yeah, I think it was Wamena. If you want to look it up, yeah. Now that you're here, if you want to look it up, it was in the Sacramento Craigslist, I believe. Yeah, I think so. Maybe it was Facebook. Anyway, I could find it. My credit card is maxed out. Thank you. I will not be doing that. If I buy scrubs, where am I gonna put them? Everything's full. Well, that's empty, and that's empty, and that's empty, and half of that wall is empty. But forget about that. It's just details. No, everything that's empty has animals in smaller cages that are going to go into it next year. So that's the plan. I say it every year, but I went too crazy on buying snakes, and I was thinking I would only get 1 or 2, and I got 9. So that happened. Put them in the living room, dude. I have snakes in the living room. That's where my quarantine spot is. I would start a wall in. I know they weren't big. They were nice. I would start a wall in. God damn it. In the bedroom if I could, but the girlfriend shut that down real quick. But all I got to do is just make babies, and if they don't fit in here, she can't just kick them out or tell me to double stuff them. They're gonna go somewhere. So yeah. So the other thing is the master bedroom is way bigger than the snake room. You can always flip flop, but I think we're just gonna try and buy a house. Yeah. Yeah, actually, my girlfriend's snake is the only one allowed to have his tank in the bedroom. He gets like a full like setup and vivarium and everything. Everybody else is in here. Although I think the snake room is the better spot. It's warmer, gets more attention. He's all by himself in there. I've got more t-shirts still. I still have... Yeah, I still have at least a few of all the sizes from small to 3X, but they're going fast. I've got a couple more shirts going out this week. I sent a bunch to my family because they all wanted them. So, but I should still have, the full spread. Brian, I've got your replacement one that I'll bring to Pomona for you. I figured that's easier than shipping because Pomona's right around the corner. So let it happen. I'm going to have to pull another one out for myself just because one is not enough. I need a second one. Yeah. It's funny, I wear this shirt to the gym or wherever and people give me weird looks. I like it. I like it a lot. Alright. That was awkward. So this guy, hopefully we'll keep doing some more cuddling. Well, so here's the thing. The snake room was like a huge upgrade for me, and it was a goal of mine. And to be fair, oh boy. To be fair, my girlfriend put up with living with me for several months in a master bedroom with all the snakes in there. Like floor to ceiling, bed in the middle, snakes around at the foot, like everywhere. It was insane. Looking back on it, it was brutal. Like, my hat's off to her for putting up with that. There were several times where we woke up in the middle of the night to a snake in the rack right at the edge of the bed near me, taking a crap. So if you've got a lady or significant other that puts up with you and your animals, treat them well. Buy them flowers. Take them out. Buy them lunch. Buy them a snake. Because then they're invested in it. And if your significant other ever says, I think you should get these, can I invest in these, put some money in so you can get this, be careful. Because that's a green light to go crazy, and you will. But then they're not going to do any help in cleaning. Yeah, Molly, you know. Yeah, so my girlfriend was the one who gave me the green light to get Amazon tree boas. She threw a little bit of money in there on one animal and then just kind of left me hanging. Before I knew it, I bought 5. And she doesn't want to deal with them. She doesn't want to clean them. She sees me get bit by them. She's like, no, that's all you. Just, when you make babies, just, kick me something back. I'm like, okay. I'll take that. Yeah. Yeah, the hunt for the snake is very exhilarating. Like, I think that's why shows are so exciting. You're walking around and you're essentially, while you're there, searching, right? So there's like this whole like different mechanism going on. You're thinking about, what can I get? What can I do? And then you see all these things that you like don't otherwise see. And as it pertains to carpet pythons, oftentimes, unless you're cruising around a show and you're at a booth where they breed carpet pythons and there's just a lot of them, typically if you see any, it's like 1 or 2 here and there, somebody's collection they're clearing out, a leftover one from the shop or something. And they usually have that animal mislabeled, either horribly underpriced or way off the charts, like stupid expensive because they made up something on it. And it's usually gone through a few different hands. Don't fall for that. It's okay to get something with no background and whatever if it looks pretty and you just want a cool pet, but like think about what you're doing, because a lot of people are dumping their leftover animals on you, things like that. Stuff that, it's now your problem. There's probably more to it. So a cheap snake is not a cheap snake. A cheap snake is usually an expensive snake. Just my little 10 cents. I was talking to somebody this morning who was asking for advice on a snake that was available. And they're still getting familiar with carpet pythons, subspecies, crosses, morphs, things like that. Good morning, Michelle. And so they were asking, one, if the deal was good, if it was what they say it was, and long story short, they decided not to get either of them because they weren't misrepresented, they weren't what he was looking at. So Brandon, good on you for producing some Captain Born and Bred scrubs and spreading the love. I know that's hard to let those go. I know it's hard. All right. Well, I've been on here for over half an hour. Unless anybody has any last minute questions, I'm going to kind of just leave y'all with a recap of what I've got going on here in case anybody's looking for animals this coming season and just anything that's coming up. So Pomona is the weekend of the 5th and 6th. So it's the first weekend of January. That's like 3 weeks away. So that's sneaking up on everyone. I'll be there hanging out with Brian, just kind of helping him out, making sure he turns his microphone on. And so we'll be there. I think I'll have t-shirts, so if anybody wants shirts there, let me know ahead of time. I'm not having a booth, it's Brian's booth, so I won't have any animals or anything, unless somebody wants a pair of het granites. So yeah, Pomona's coming up in 3 weeks. Still got t-shirts. Got a bunch of carpets breeding this year. Children's python. And hopefully come spring, the Amazon tree boas will start showing me some more good signs. By then, we should have eggs on the ground. Getting the incubator ready. Gonna start prepping that. Got to get some more light diffuser for my egg boxes. So, yeah. It's coming up fast. Just like this last half hour one. So, thanks everybody for hopping on here, tuning in. This is the 14th episode of this, so it's been going on like 3 months now. So that's pretty cool. I keep looking at my list of videos, and it's just all the live streams. I haven't forgotten about making some like legit content, so if anybody wants to see anything in particular, let me know. There's a lot of things that I have not filmed. Feel free to scroll through some of the other stuff if you're looking for anything. But otherwise, I gotta go to the gym. I'll take care of you, Richard. I got animals. Enjoy football. Hope everyone's fantasy league is going well. Krebos will be in a year or two. So we'll see. But if you're looking for some, I know a guy locally who's a good friend of mine. Anyway. Enjoy your coffee. Enjoy football. Yeah. That's it. Have a good Sunday, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.